Coming up, a Latin-flavored riff developed into an allegorical masterpiece and the signature song for America's band. It's a psychological tale of a man precariously caught in a disturbing asylum from which he may never escape. The iconic writers, they wanted the song to open like an episode of the Twilight Zone.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension.
Did it ever? They wrote it about the dark underbelly of the American dream, and they used the song to call out another popular band of the time. This song was so epic. The two guitar players wrote a solo side by side, and it took them 3 days to finish it. It's a song that every band dreams of writing. A song that's still as popular and perplexing as it was the day it came out. It's a song that's inspired a dozen theories of what it truly means. Well, we're going to find out the true meaning coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you are a true believer in the Church of Rock and Roll, this is your place. Subscribe below right now to be a part of our community. We do this every day. Get insight from the legends about the great songs. Also, take a look at our new features on Patreon. Content there is exclusive and I think you'll enjoy it. It's time for another episode of our program, The New Standards. This is where we break down a song that's now part of the Great American Songbook. Or should I say the Great Global Songbook. It's a song that is truly immortal. We haven't done one of these in some time, so we're back with one that I think we can all agree on. Welcome to the Hotel California, the spellbinding American rock standard by the Eagles. As peculiar as an episode of the Twilight Zone, with the mysterious intrigue of an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Now, our story begins at a beach house in Malibu, California, and then transports to a dark desert highway, to an eerie hotel in the middle of nowhere. And that's where the story ends. Because you see, you can check out any time, but you can never leave. Guitarist Don Felder was excited to play on his first album with the Eagles in 1975. On one spectacular sunny day in July of 75, Don was sitting on the beach outside his rented home in Malibu, just tinkering on his acoustic guitar. And he started playing the intro of what would become the signature song for this new band. Don played his freshly invented chord sequence over and over. And the more that he played it, the more he liked it. So he went back to one of the back bedrooms where he had a reel-to-reel tape recorded and a microphone. Don played his guitar part several times while recording on the reel-to-reel, and then he rejoined his family on the beach. Now, soon after, Felder added beats from a Rhythm Ace drum machine and a 12-string guitar version of his sequence to fatten up the track. It was on a demo with 15 or 16 other songs to submit to Don Henley and Glenn Frey. Now, listening back to the instrumental, Don could hear a Latin flavor to his track, sort of a cross between Eastern Cuba bolero and Mexican-style reggae. He actually gave the instrumental the working title, Mexican Reggae. Now, when Don Henley first reviewed Mexican reggae while driving down a Benedict Canyon in LA one evening, he was captivated by Felder's instrumental, thinking that he could put, something together very interesting over the music bed. Glenn Frey was equally impressed, calling the instrumental electric Mexican reggae and a nice synthesis of styles. That was his quote. Henley and Frey began collaborating on writing lyrics for Mexican reggae, which evolved into Hotel California. The duo quickly zeroed in on the idea of doing something strange, just to see if they could do it. This song breakdown, as we go into it, it's sponsored by Zenni Eyewear, the glasses that I always wear. With summer coming, it is the perfect time to get sunglasses, whether prescription or non-prescription, because you can craft the color, the shape, and the style, and add so many features to this. Go to Zenni.com today and check it out. So with Hotel California, the underlying concept was to mirror the imagery evoked in the 1965 novel The Magus by John Fowles, about a man in an unfamiliar barren setting who is nervous about what he is experiencing. Glenn Frey said that he and Henley wanted the song to open like an episode of the Twilight Zone, where over time the main character walks through a door and there's a new version of reality. That's exactly what happened. Don Henley decided on the theme of Hotel California, noting how the Beverly Hills Hotel on Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills had become a literal and a symbolic focal point at that time of their lives. None of the band members of the Eagles were from LA, so Beverly Hills was really a mythical place to Henley and Frey, and the hotel became the locus of all that LA had come to represent to them. The song would be about the end of innocence and the entrance into the dark underbelly of the American dream, with recurring concepts of darkness, light, conflict, heartbreak, and excess, something the Eagles knew all too well. Glenn Frey came up with a cinematic scenario for the protagonist, tired from driving a long distance across a desert, saw a place to rest his weariness, and pulled in for the night. Unknowingly entering a bizarre world surrounded by freaky, ghostly characters. Fans have had some wild interpretations of the lyrics of Hotel California. I myself have. Some incisively analytical, others just flat out ridiculous. Don Henley has been emphatic about encouraging listeners to attach whatever meaning they want to the song that he co-penned with the late Glenn Frey. But make no mistake about it, Henley and Frey were not nebulous with their intentions while choosing words to compose Hotel California. I mean, each verse was carefully crafted and inspired by what was happening in their lives. For instance, the beginning of verse 2, her mind is Tiffany twisted, she got the Mercedes Benz. Intentionally spelled B-E-N-D-S, not B-E-N-Z, as a Mercedes-Benz. She got a lot of pretty boys she calls friends. Now, those lines reflect Henley's feelings about the breakup with his former girlfriend, Lori Rodkin. According to Glenn Frey's liner notes for the very best of, the use of the word steely in the lyric. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. This was a playful nod to Steely Dan. And, Steely Dan had included the lyric, turn up the Eagles, the neighbors are listening, in their song, Everything You Did.
Turn up the Eagles, the neighbors are listening.
Glenn Frey also said that the writing of the song was inspired by the boldness of Steely Dan's lyrics and its willingness to go out there. They thought that the song they wrote had achieved perfect ambiguity. I would agree with him. One of the most misinterpreted lyrics in Hotel California, that's found in the latter part of verse 2. So I called up the captain, please bring me my wine. He said, we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. Now, many take the line quite literally to mean that Henley is referring to wine as a spirit, which actually is not. Don comically stated by the time that he co-wrote Hotel California, he had consumed enough alcohol to know that wine is fermented and not distilled as spirits are, and he did not need a tutorial on that subject. The passage is actually a well-positioned socio-political statement about social activism of the 60s that really evaporated in the 70s. Don Henley always rocks great lyrical prophet. He would cover similar ground when he was solo in 1985 with The Boys of Summer, when he said, out on the road today, I saw a deadhead sticker on a Cadillac.
Out on the road today, I saw a deadhead sticker on a Cadillac.
He also had that same feel in the commentary of his 1989 classic, The End of the Innocents.
The end of the innocence.
When it's all said and done, Don Henley is one of the distinct voices of rock history, for sure. Even more than that, though, he's in a league of his own lyrically. Another interesting part of Hotel California, the warm smell of Khalid is rising up in the air. That was mistaken for the narrator singing about the smell of burning marijuana, when it was really a Don Henley line further setting up the song's imagery, describing the pungent scene of a desert plant called the Colita that blooms at night. Hotel California's surreal storyline of a man who, along with other hotel guests, is a prisoner of his own device.
We are all just prisoners here of our own device.
Has also collected numerous theories about a haunted origin to the Eagles classic. And one of the most interesting legends is one that believes Don Henley actually stayed in a haunted hotel in the town of Todos Santos, located 45 minutes north of Cabo San Lucas in Baja, California, Mexico. The Mexican tourist industry described the place as Pueblo Mágico, which is, in English, it means magical town. The legend goes on to claim that the inspiration for Hotel California was born at a simple two-story lodging in Todos Santos that opened in 1932. The spirit of a woman named Mercedes allegedly haunted the hotel, appearing to men, inviting them to have a glass of wine. Quite similar to Henley's prose in Hotel California.
There she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell.
Now, Don Henley has never remotely hinted to the veracity of that particular folklore. There's likely no truth to it. It sure is cool. A spooky myth that adds to the enduring fascination of Hotel California. When Eagles began the recording session for Hotel California, Don Felder and co-lead Eagle guitarist Joe Walsh, they were improvising together on a long guitar riff. That's when Don Henley suddenly stopped them, yelling at Felder, "No, that's not the way it sounds." So Don Henley insisted that the song follow the music of Felder's original demo. It had been over a year since Felder laid down the basic music track on his home recorder for the previously titled Mexican Reggae. And his memory of exactly how it sounded, it was a bit hazy. So Don Felder had to call his housekeeper at the Malibu house, to get the cassette of the original music track, put the tape in a blaster and play it over the phone so that they could all hear it and emulate it in the studio as best as they could. Don Henley and the guys were happy with the results, as it proved to be close enough to Felder's demo. Don Henley, he had a tough time finding the right octave to deliver what many consider his consummate performance on Hotel California. I guess the vocals were recorded 3 different times in 3 different sessions before Don finally nailed the key.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
The climactic final section of Hotel California, of course, features the epic guitar battle, between Joe Walsh, who would replace Bernie Leadon after, Leadon's departure from the band in 1975, and Felder, which had the two of them sitting next to each other, working for a solid 3 days to achieve the necessary precision. And boy, did they ever. It's actually well beyond epic. I've heard it hundreds of times, and it's even more thrilling every time that I hear it. Is it the greatest guitar mano-a-mano ever? Let me know in the comments. The vigilance of Don Felder and Joe Walsh produced just a phenomenal electric guitar breakdown with an emotionally amplified phase and a delay evoking a nightmarish conclusion, after the narrator receives the terrifying revelation that there is no escape from the Hotel California. And actually, readers of Guitarist magazine voted the Felder-Walsh coda in Hotel California the greatest guitar solo of all time. Also, Hotel California was ranked #1 on the list of the best 12-string guitar songs of all time by Guitar World magazine. That was in 2015. When the Hotel California album was finished, it was Don Henley that was adamant about that title track being a single. Now get this, Asylum Records executives had doubts, and they were very reluctant to release Hotel California as the lead single. We hear this story a lot. There's a bunch of suits that didn't get a certain song or an album, but this one is a no-brainer. Since I was 4 years old and first heard this song played by my dad, I just was absolutely mesmerized, transfixed. I have no clue how the suits could not hear that. It's just a #1 smash. It's not only a #1 smash, it's a game changer. But apparently, even Don Felder thought it would be a mistake. The track was, well over 6 minutes long. Its duration far exceeding, the 3 to 3.5 minute radio programmers preferred at that moment. But as we all know, when a song is a masterpiece, the length doesn't matter. Hence, Hey Jude.
Hey Jude, don't let me down.
Hence, American Pie.
This American Pie drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
So the label presented a concession to edit the song down to 4 minutes, but the band took a stand and they refused their request to shorten it. They dug in as they well should have. So Hotel California was the second single released from the album, following the lead single New Kid in Town. I mean, New Kid in Town is a beloved tune by the Eagles, don't get me wrong. Great lead vocal by Glenn Frey, and it was actually the group's third #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100. Did that in 1976.
Everybody's talking about the New Kid in Town.
Hotel California, though, that became the Eagles' fourth #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1977, and their only single to reach platinum sales status. That's for selling over 1 million units. And I might add, it became the signature song for a band that was already a juggernaut. Already a band that had a signature song, Take It Easy, you could argue.
Easy, take it easy.
Hotel California also shot to #1 in Canada, and it was the Eagles' biggest hit in the UK. Reached #8 there. Eagles were nominated for Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. They won the Grammy Award for Record of the Year for Hotel California in 1978. The captivating storyline of Hotel California and its mammoth success in pop culture attracted the attention of Hollywood, of course. Film producer Julia Phillips wanted to make a movie based on the song, but the band rejected the proposal and the project never got off the ground. Phillips, who passed away in 2002, was one of the hottest movie moguls during that time. She was the first female producer, I believe, to win an Academy Award for Best Producer for her work on the 1974 blockbuster caper The Sting, of course starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford. So when hell froze over and the Eagles got back together in 1994, they recorded a live acoustic version, as many of you know, of Hotel California for the MTV special that was included on their album, Hell Freezes Over. Hotel California's original music composer, Don Felder, came up with a new guitar intro for the acoustic version the same day the band recorded it. While the acoustic version of Hotel California was not released as a single, it definitely garnered a ton of airplay, and it helped Hell Freezes Over mount the top of the Billboard album chart the first week that it was dropped. Eagles, again, were nominated for a Grammy at that time, Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. Hotel California, man, it's the kind of song that every artist dreams of. It's not only the signature song for a band that has a set list full of greatest hits, one after the other. It's the stuff of legend. I mean, it's one of the crown jewels of classic rock, alongside other epics like Stairway to Heaven, Layla. There are very few songs that are so potent that they can just cast a spell on you and never let you go. Hotel California is truly one of the most storied songs in the history of all popular music. I remember just staring at the LP cover of this record with my cousin and friend Mark when we were like 6 or 7 years old, in absolute awe. I mean, how many urban legends have you heard about this song? Share in the comments below. I want to hear those. I remember my dad playing the record over and over when I was just a little boy, and then again, on his 8-track player in his workshop. I mean, he'd tell me all these tall tales about it, and then I'd pass those on with my own interpretation to all my friends. Then I pointed out the hotel when I was on a trip with my kids in California, and I retell all those stories to them. I have no doubt that they'll pass that on to their own kids, and it will just only continue from generation to generation. That's why this song is a true standard of the great rock and pop catalog. Just like Don Henley said in the song, which also applies to the life of the song. You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. All of us have permanent residence at the Hotel California. Leave us a comment about this standard of popular music, standard of the music canon, really. What are your memories and stories of it and your thoughts about the Eagles? please share in the comments below. If you dig this content, we do invite you to subscribe below right now so you never miss out. Stories of the song straight from the artist. We also invite you to be an exclusive member of our Patreon, where we have so much more to experience there. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. We'll see you soon.